Are athletes better fit for entrepreneurship than MBA students?
Whoa. Say it one more time?
Are athletes a better fit for entrepreneurship than students who graduate with MBAs?
Mm, 100%. 100%. Um, just the mindset, I actually touch on this a lot, Jackson, the mindset that it takes to be an athlete and to perform at that level, to be able to fail and face adversity publicly in front of thousands of people, to be bashed on the internet, that's entrepreneurship at the end of the day. Like, you gotta be able to get beaten down, get back up, and also the scheduling, like how disciplined athletes really are is a big piece of entrepreneurship that I think you don't even realize until you dive headfirst into the deep end into entrepreneurship. You're not working a 9 to 5. You don't have a boss. You don't get onboarded. There's no, like, blueprint of, like, "Here you go. Here's what you do. Here's how you do your job." You have to figure it out, and so, you know, that takes a lot, like, you gotta wake up and get your own butt up out of bed and, figure out what you're doing, similar to athletes. If something's wrong, I always use baseball as an example, like with mechanics, like you got to figure out how to fix your grip or, how to adjust your mechanics to get your velo back up. And maybe that's through workouts, maybe that's through a drill, maybe it's mental and you got to start meditating or diet. I mean, there's so many things that go into adjusting and perfecting your performance on a physical level, which you can only control so much. That's so, so, so hard. And why only 1% of people in the world are really doing that side that translates 100% into entrepreneurship versus I got my master's and I learned more when I was dancing in the NBA about how to build my business than I did in my program. I mean, I have, the accolades. I did a study that helped me in my master's to, navigate this entrepreneurial world. But my textbook surely didn't teach me how to get there.
Yeah, I was joking around with a friend of mine the other day, and I told him that if it wasn't for basketball, I probably would not have gone to college. And I'm incredibly skeptical of school as a whole,
hmm
uh, mainly because when you are in 5th or 6th grade and you have a fat PE coach, you're just like, "Oh, well."
Dude, I'm kinda feel like I'm being pranked because I just sent this to my husband. Like, there was a graphic that said something like, "I figured out school was a sham when my PE coach was fat and my business teacher never owned a business." I'm actually
Yes.
weirded out that you opened up with this because I just sent that. So,
Probably came through my subconscious, but
yeah.
well, I've been saying it for a while, and so one of the things that I went through when I was trying to decide my major was who are my professors going to be, and so obviously I ended up jumping into sports management, but entrepreneurship was a minor choice of mine, and I was looking through kind of a list, and I was like, well, most of these entrepreneurs, and I'm at the University of Texas, and most of these college professors have never ran their own business; they just know how to teach, and so yeah, there's that piece of it, but I think my athletic career has definitely prepped me for my entrepreneurial ventures and all those kinds of things. So figured I just want to come off with a question like
Yeah,
that
you
to
came out hot. I
yeah,
love it.
usually try to. Okay, so talk about how you got into AthleteCon and helping out athletes because like you mentioned earlier, you were a dancer in the NBA.
Yeah, I danced in college. I danced in the NBA and I, was interviewed at the time, like as a dancer. And I was like, that's probably maybe more where I want to go is the media side of things. So I jumped kind of headfirst into the sports media industry. I say, you name it, I've probably done it from, running a radio show for Ryan Seacrest Studios, sideline reporting, becoming an editor at ESPN. I had like really seen a lot of different roles and kind of going off of your point, like I kind of woke up every single day being like, but what is it? Like, what do I want to do? Like, what's going to motivate me? What's going to get me out of bed every single morning? And it ended up being like helping athletes at the end of the day. And so really started diving headfirst into teaching athletes like hands-on tips and tools on how to take advantage of their name on the roster, whether is at the collegiate level or the pro level, or even I was helping a lot of Olympic athletes when I first got started and converting it. Like, how do you make this into a business? Like, how do you, leave the Olympics and not have to go back and clock into a 9 to 5? Because if you're not getting paid, to be the top freaking 1% of the entire world in athletics, like, like how do you subsidize this? And so I started just grassroots, really helping athletes, like bringing in products into gyms and helping them shoot content. This is when Instagram was basically still just a photo app, to date myself. But I saw it work at the end of the day, Jackson. I saw these athletes take it seriously and convert their platform into, camps and clinics or nonprofits, or end up becoming full-time content creators. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Like this is a thing. Like I was sitting at ESPN, I was sitting behind a desk, I was editing, and I just saw a gap. I was editing every single athlete on the screen, and I'm like, they're not doing anything with this outside of their analytics that are being reported on them. And sometimes it's bad. And it's like all you see is the bad and the failure, even though they're at the highest level. And we're sitting here producing shows about how bad they are. And I'm like, but like there's good there. And there's there's an entire audience, and they're letting everybody else tell their story. None of these athletes are telling their story. The TV stations were telling the stories and just chasing headlines and not getting to the root of it, and what these athletes could really do for young kids, and to inspire them, and the things that they could build with this platform bothered me. So started off in the professional realm of helping athletes monetize their brand, and then NIL passed, and it's cringy, but I said to myself a million times, I'm like, this was an industry like made for me. Like all these things that I'd been doing, like all these skills that I've been accumulating over a decade of video editing and working with brands, and running brand campaigns, and just talking with athletes, like it popped up into a brand new industry quite literally overnight, and I knew I had to be involved in it, so I jumped right in. And now I've been to 30 plus universities, is how I really got started in the NIL space. I partner with brands like Marriott and Pepsi, and I would come in and I would teach the athletes how to shoot and edit and create content and publish advertisements live in workshops, just educational workshops. But it was fun for them. They're so used to, athletes are used to PowerPoints and being bored, and not talking about topics that benefit them. And so I wanted to shake that up and show them what I had seen over the past decade, helping athletes really make money off of this. And it works. I've helped athletes land car deals that aren't even in revenue generating sports and aren't even at major universities. And so got started there, and then been to every event within the industry because of it, and saw the same thing. I'm like, brands are spending thousands of dollars slapping their logos only on a banner, and athletes are spending thousands of dollars to attend these events, and they're calling me that they didn't learn anything. And so I started AthleteCon. It's the first convention to ever facilitate deals in person, where athletes are taking the products in hand and going and shooting advertisements live, and then they're taking hands-on workshops from Meta and Snapchat and Canva, really learning how to monetize this thing. So honestly, Jackson, it's a long-winded way to say I've been around the world and back, it feels like, and really ended up here out of passion and just identifying a few gaps and trying to solve it.
I went to the first AthleteCon, and I remember we were in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was an absolute blast. I remember, I think it was maybe Zoe who reached out to me originally, and she was like, "Hey, there's this event. There's this woman by the name of Sam, and got this event that's going on, and there's going to be a bunch of athletes there, and like we want you to come out." And I was like, I don't I don't really, like, do stuff like this, you know? I was big into, I was actually skipping high school classes to go to, like, real estate seminars, and so I liked
Love
going
that.
to events, but I had never, yeah, my economics teacher loved that too. No one else did. Um, so I'd always been big into, like, going to events and meeting people and networking and stuff, but that word networking, like, really grosses
Yeah.
me out. Um, but I ended up going, and I remember meeting you in person. We were talking, and I was like, "Wow, this is different." Fast forward a couple years later, and by a mile, you are the industry leader in what it is that you do. And so, yeah, so that's basically my long-winded way of saying thank you for coming over.
Thank you.
So okay, what's the most profitable kind of campaign that you've been able to help facilitate?
I like that. From an athlete profitability standpoint, or from like a brand seeing ROI?
Let's do both.
Okay. From a brand standpoint, I'm heavy on creator crews or ambassador programs right now. I've worked with Nike, I've worked with Meta, I've signed with Twitch streaming, you name it. I'd love to use Dick's Varsity program as an example. They're like literally leading the industry as far as like athlete and influencer marketing in general, where brands cast a wide net to, either athletes or creators. Application process. So you're getting athletes and creators that are super hungry and really interested in promoting your brand. Creates FOMO. All these athletes want in because it's a competition and they're competitive by nature. And so like they're willing to do more, they're willing to work harder, they're willing to promote your brand more and even go above and beyond the deliverables and what you're even asking because it's a competition and they want in. And so Dick's Varsity just had it was like 10,800 or 10,500 applicants for their program and it's only like a few years, you know, into their programming, and they have like 3 weeks to go through all these applications to sift through this process. It's a beautiful problem to have, and really proof of what influencer marketing is and should be. And so that model, like Dick's then leverages the brands within their network, the Nikes, all their products that they already have to source these athletes with product to then promote. And so now they've created like this web of brands that are like really getting out there into different audiences. And they're not just signing traditional athletes. There's, Paralympic athletes, like you name it. So the creator model is what I'm like really seeing a lot of success in the ambassadorship program because it creates genuine buy-in. Like these athletes really want to be a part of it. You're not just paying them and begging them to promote your brand, you're making them a part of a community. And because of that community, you're getting a lot further because these athletes are just naturally talking about your program. They're going on Instagram and posting Instagram stories about it. They feel a lot of value in networking with the other athletes or the other creators in the program. A lot of it's even like just merchandise sponsor and sponsorships, and you're getting content from that rather than just writing them a check. And so, the other benefit is I feel like from like a demographic standpoint, like you're reaching a wide part of the map by doing an application process because you're reaching and you can select people from different states, different backgrounds, different sports, different ages. That really gets these brands in front of a lot of different demographics that traditionally, without social media and without ambassador programs, they were not reaching prior. I've seen a lot of brands also go very, very deep in one area and seen success in that, but I have seen it be a little bit more costly. A lot of brands want to go to like one school and one school only, and they want to put all their budget into that. And it's great because then you're very, very like viral and hitting a lot of headlines and, cultivating a lot of culture on these local campuses and in these local communities. But you're targeting one state, one university, not the whole map. So it is a little bit of what your goal is, at the end of the day, what does this brand want? Some are brick and mortar, and they only have one store at that local campus. Makes sense to go that way. Some are national brands and they have stores all over the country, and there might be a store in, Arizona that's hurting. The ambassadorship program way is going to be where you're going to see the ROI and see the success that converts. So it's a little bit of a strategy and kind of a game plan based on your goals. For athletes, um, my athletes that know how to approach this as a business are the ones winning. And what I mean by that is when an athlete first gets started, typically with brand partnerships, they just worry about one and done deals. And that's really it. And it's like, I got to land a brand. How much can I get for that one video? And that's it. In comparison to my athletes that build their own websites, start a podcast like you, are doing one-on-one lessons virtually online, are starting Instagram broadcast channels and cultivating a community. Um, the ones that are actually structuring this into services. I'm not just selling you one video. I'm starting a podcast series and I'll feature your logo, or in ads before and run it before every single, podcast show that I run. You're getting 80 episodes. The ones that, I'll go give it to my teammates and I'll do a full blown video, getting your product in 20 other athletes' hands. The ones that are seriously thinking about ways to build this into a business and into long-term partnerships are the ones that are like making like serious, serious money.
When I was first getting into it, The podcast was something I was already planning on doing. I didn't realize how much leverage it would have actually given me because most athletes are not willing to invest the time or the money to start a podcast.
1000%.
Yeah, so I was super pumped on that end. I think in my freshman year alone, I walked into Texas with maybe 3,300 followers, and I left with about 60. And so that was after my first year. So in 1 year, you go from 3 to 60. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane. And so I ended up doing about 50 brand deals. Um, True Classic, KFC, Proactive, Movember, and I'm working with all these brands. And but what a lot of people don't know is my first 20 were probably for free or close to it. So actually my first one ever I did get paid on, but then after that I was like, "Oh, well, I just need to start showing these brands that I'm willing to work for them."
Mm,
And I did 15 or 20 of them for free. And so
yeah.
what would you say to the athlete who thinks that they're too good to work for free on the front end?
Man, I can go both ways on all of this. Like, know your worth, of course. You can say no. Like, you guys do deserve to get paid, but you got to start somewhere. If you have not a lot, if you don't have a big following, if you haven't done this before, um, like, how do you expect to get started? Like, you got to start. And so you got to be okay with like providing value for these brands. And I always say, like, really think this through. When you're getting started, I would work for free and go for bigger brands and be willing to provide deliverables for a brand that's going to stand out on my resume or in a digital portfolio that I could then leverage moving forward to smaller brands and justify why I charge what I charge. Hey, I worked with CVS. This is why I'm charging $400, $500 for a video, even though I only have 5,000 followers because I work with national brands and I've proven that and I've proven the value behind it. Versus, the smaller brands don't do that for free. Like if you don't love it and you don't completely align with that brand, like no, then don't. So, again, it kind of comes back to a little bit of strategy. Um Everybody has to start from somewhere at the end of the day. I mean, even when I started my business, I mean, my first workshop at a university had to be for free. How the heck else was I supposed to prove what I wanted to do? I mean, you got to walk in and, show everybody like what you can do. And so at the end of the day, yeah, you're going to get there, but like be okay with, working a little bit hard and work like literally rolling up your sleeves to be able to get there to be able to charge more. It's just like your sport, you know? I mean, you guys spend years trying to get to the D1 level and the workouts, and, you guys are willing to get up for a 4 a.m. workout, 5 a.m. workout, fly across the country, do this, do the one-on-one lessons, lower your ego and pay a coach to train you, right? It's the same exact thing. So the ones that think that they're too good are going to miss out long term. You might say no and you might make a little bit of money, or even more money kind of in the short term, but long term, that's not how business is. Like it's always going to be a give and a take. And if you're not willing to give, then you're never going to be able to like be profitable long term because everybody starts at zero.
Yeah. How does an athlete go about learning how to say no to a particular brand deal?
Fabulous question. Even in business, it took me a long time. Like everything gets like flashy and exciting. Like when you're getting started, like as an athlete, like let's say you finally hit 10K on Instagram and now like brands are reaching out and you're getting a lot of offers. It gets very, very exciting because like this is what you've been wanting. And like deep down in your gut, you knew that you could do this. And you finally like took that step, like, and pushed yourself and now it's working. And then it comes to the point of like, like, ooh, like, do I say yes? Do I say no? Do I have to do this? And sometimes you feel like you do. Like, just because there's an offer, sometimes you feel like you have to take it. Um, it's a gut thing. It just is. I had an athlete text me the other day, like, that they had this brand and, they sent her product and they were pissed at her because she didn't finish the deliverable in time, but it wasn't even cash. And it was just like, sketch. And, a lot of these athletes know deep down, like, this ain't right. This doesn't feel right. And you got to trust that. And you can't be worried about, as long as you're not being a jerk and you're not like coming out and like burning bridges out of nowhere, like out of left field and just like you're saying, like, think who you are and like degrade the brand. you're fine. Like nothing's going to happen long term if you at least are civil about everything and approach it like a business. But you got to trust that gut instinct because you just know, like you really do. And the unfortunate part, Jackson, is this industry is filled with snakes and sharks. It really is. And it's sad. It bothers me. It's half the reason why I do what I do is like out of protection for athletes because it actually pisses me off how many people want to take advantage of athletes and they're so good at like structuring like snaky pitches and making the athlete feel like they're really benefiting from selling your product. You got to buy my product first. So you got to spend $500, buy my product. I'll ship you product. Then you sell it. And once you hit 500 in sales, then I give you a code. Then this, then you'll pay on commission. And like, that's what's going on. Like, there's really like a
Oof.
lot of companies like just trying to take advantage of these athletes. But I think it's like athletes having the confidence to know like that they are right. I think a lot of athletes are insecure in the business world. They know their sport. They know this, they know that. But like when it comes to the real world and to business, they clamp up and they feel like they're not worthy, they feel like they're not smart enough, and these companies prey on that. Like they will literally come out and be like, "No, like you need me, like you do this." And it's all to self-serve themselves. But the athletes just need to know like they have really good social awareness. Like they know who's, there to help them and who's there to hurt them. You got to lean into that because 10 times out of 10 if you see a red flag, it's going to be true.
I That's one thing that I am very grateful that I actually took the time to do was I've always been somewhat business savvy, and
Mhm.
so I can kind of smell the bullshit when it starts coming.
Yeah, yeah,
But I had to teach myself how to read contracts because I couldn't afford to pay lawyers and stuff. And now we've got all these AI tools. There's no
literally.
reason why you can't just upload the contract into ChatGPT and be like, run it through a couple times and
Yep.
make sure you get all the little pieces. Reach out to you and organizations like athletes.org who have resources like that where yeah, you don't want to set yourself up for a position where it's like you're investing all this time and money and the brand isn't giving anything back in return. At the end of the day, you're the asset, not the brand.
Mhm.
Right. And so I don't know. I've said no to a lot of deals. I've said no to way more deals than I've said yes to at this point. And it's because they were either trying to underpay me, brand itself didn't make sense is actually
Yeah,
a really good one. The brand values and the things that they were trying to promote don't line up with my personal beliefs. And so I've turned down $5,000, $6,000 brand deals because hey,
1000%.
they're promoting this thing that I don't believe in. And so
The long-term effect of that would destroy your brand rather than help
oh,
it.
absolutely. Well, it destroys you because it's like, oh, well, you're just a
Yeah,
sellout, you
right.
know? So
100%.
um with with all of that though, so you're coaching all these athletes, right? They're coming to your events, they're watching your content, they're learning how to make videos. You now have hundreds of athletes, close to a couple thousand athletes probably who have seen your stuff and are wanting to get into this space. Now there's a lot of saturation. And so how do athletes go about differentiating themselves in the social media marketplace?
Fabulous question. That's my step one every single time. Like, it's like, what do you want to do? Step number one, period. Like, we can't even move on. I had an athlete call me the other day and be like, "I'm making this content, making that content. I feel like I should niche down, but like, what do you think?" And I'm like, what are we building? What do you want to do 10 years from now? And I say it from personal experience because I built a lot of brands. I danced in the NBA. I grew my following like crazy. Hated the content I was putting out. I was putting out what I felt like the audience or like the digital presence wanted to see and not me. I deleted that account. I lost my entire fan base. I started all the way over more than once. Then I did it again. I started interviewing professional athletes behind the scenes. I started this brand called Behind the Lights. And I was doing all these interviews and I didn't really care to interview them for their stories. I wanted to help them tell their own story, but it took me years to even like process like that that's what I wanted. You got to sit down with yourself and like literally look yourself in the mirror, as cringy and cheesy as it is, and be like, who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And that's where you start. And you might not have a direct answer, and it might not be like, I want to start a financial firm and I want to do, like, you might not know, but you have vibes. Like you have a few things, you have some common themes, you have some interests, you have some hobbies, and you got to lean into those and figure it out. And the day that I woke up and I was like, oh, I know what I like. I like helping athletes build their brand. And that day I woke up and finally identified that. I decided, I'm like, I'm gonna be athlete's go-to brand builder. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna build that. And now every day I wake up, I know what I'm posting. I know what brands I'm working on. I know what side ventures or businesses I'm doing. I know what contracts I'm saying yes to. I know what contracts I'm saying no to because I have a goal and I know where I want to go with it. And so that's got to be where you start. So I ask athletes, I'm like, do you want to be, do you want to run camps and clinics? Do you want to run a nonprofit? Do you want to be a full-time content creator? Then you can build a strategy like all around that because it's hard. Like it takes 10 times longer than what you think to get to where you want to go. It just
Yeah.
does. It
Yeah.
is so much harder. Like from day one, you're optimistic, you're hopeful, you're like, yay, I have this, I'm going to do it. And then life beats you down. Like life is hard and it's going to hit you. And so on those hard days, you have to be building something or working towards something that you love, or it's going to swallow you alive if you're not doing it for the right, true, genuine reasons. And I learned that a long time ago. Like, I felt like maybe at points I was doing it for the views, and I was. I was getting the views, I was growing the following, but inside it wasn't what I wanted. And when the days got hard, it was way harder. Versus now, I love what I do, and when the day is hard, it sucks when it's hard because I want it so bad and I love it and I just want to help more. Um, but it's worth the hard because I genuinely love it. And so it's not even about, I want to stand out. They're already doing that. It is saturated. They're doing that. It's okay if it's saturated if you love it and if you want to do it because you'll find a way to put your own spin on it. You'll find a way to be different because everybody is different and special in their own way. So I really boil it down to like that one true, like, picture your life 10 years from now. Again, as cliche as it is, like, where do you want to be? And then we peel it all the way back to day one.
Yeah. My thought around this, and I actually do want to get your take on it because you kind of touched on it. Um, I talked to people who want to run their own business, they want to build a brand, all these things. When I talk to them about what kind of business that they actually want to build, most of the time it's, I love X. And so I want to build a business around
Mm,
X. And then what happens is they go into this business building it around X thing that they're so passionate about. And then they lose the love for that thing. And so for me, it was, I love basketball. I want to be a basketball trainer. And so what I did was I started training kids, and I had a gym at my old high school filled up with 50 kids that I was training on my own for 4, 5, 6 hours on the
mm.
sub. And a couple weeks in, I was making really good money. I was training these kids. I was around the game of basketball, and then I was like, "Oh, this sucks." Like I just didn't enjoy it. And so, how do you know where that line is of like, hey, I really love something, I want to build a business around it, versus should I build a business around it, or should I build a business around something that I'm really good at and build it around a skill?
So you have to try. If you
Mhm.
didn't try that, Jackson, it would have always been in the back of your mind, like, maybe I should just be a trainer. I should open up a gym. I could be good at that. And you're always going to wonder about that. And like, that's one side that like Gary Vee, Hermosi, Mel Robbins, like all these serial entrepreneurs that are massive, like that we all look up to and want to be like, if you care to be, an entrepreneur, don't talk about. Like, Hermosi did that literally. Like, he had gyms and he scaled them and he sold them and he did that. And he was like, I don't actually give a shit about this anymore. And so
Yeah. Yep.
that's a part of life, like, and I feel like we actually need to normalize that because, like, same, Jackson, like, I thought I wanted to be a sideline reporter. I scaled my YouTube channel. I ended up running nonprofits and camps and clinics in St. Croix, St. Thomas, Honduras around it. Um, and, like, you have to try to know. Um, so I don't view that as like a problem. And I also think it's unavoidable because it's a part of life. I think if, I think our society actually puts pressure on that not being okay, like, to not to try and to not to flip, like, we are very heavy on, you graduate and for the next 40 years, you already know what you wanna do and you do it for 40 years and you climb the ranks and you scale and you make the more money and you pocket it and you put it in this like, so, that's life and you gotta be okay with that because now you're gonna find what you truly know and love. But I will say, one thing that I ended up realizing is I thought it was like, okay, I like sideline reporting and I like media and I like talking on camera or I like X, Y, and Z, that's the path. And then I was like, oh, I got burnt out on this side of that. Oh, I love video editing. Like, I like being creative. I like kind of like expressing myself through digital media. Maybe I should want to go and be like this major editor. Oh, like burnt out on that. Oh, and so then instead, like I found a way to like bring all my hobbies or like kind of my interests together into one business, and now I'm not burnt out because I get to kind of like dabble in all the sides of my interests under one roof. And it took me a very long time to figure that out through AthleteCon and through the other side of my business, which is SGU, when I go school to school teaching athletes and working with, brands and activations like Twitch. And now I love it. And it was like, but I had to go through all that and try all those things to know. So I would say, like, also don't like box yourself out in the sense of like, maybe you do like training and then maybe you like this side of the business and maybe there's a way to even combine it that's brand new to the industry that the industry hasn't even seen before, which is what I did. I mean, people thought I was crazy. They were like, no way you can start a business just off of helping athletes build their brands. There's no way. Like, that'll be weeded out. Like, you're going to be like, overtaken by all these mega corporations that have millions. Good luck, Sam. I give you 2 years. And they'd shake my hand and be like, see ya. And now those mega corporations have gone under. And it's like, because y- once you find what you like, you're going to just keep going. So, and you're going to just find a way. But I do think this day and age with AI and social media and, how digital our world is, we're not brick and mortar. You don't have to work a 9 to 5 if you don't choose to anymore. There's ways to truly pave your own way and to flip the script and to kind of call it your way that have never been done before. So I would also say that, like, like you might be starting a business and think you have to do it because it was another business that's already been done before. Painting business, here's the script, cool. You can add in your own touches and flavor, and it might end up being, even bigger than what you thought.
Yeah. Well, with you being like the industry leader in this thing, it's because you've made it 100% about the athlete. Again, I went to AthleteCon. I
Mhm.
felt it. I was there. I made new friends, new business connections, had really good conversations. And the event itself was just a 1 day thing at that first event. It was a
Yeah.
one a little bit the next
Crazy.
morning. And yeah, it was crazy. And but no, it was like such a cool experience.
Thank
With
you.
your brand in particular, I always know when I see a Sam Green video because I'll be scrolling by and then I'll see
Yeah.
the pink blazer. What's that about? Why is that important to you?
Okay, so it's funny you said that, and I know you told me the last question. The only question you told me you were going to ask was the last one.
Mhm.
And this might allude to it. The pink actually, like, I literally remember, I couldn't even tell you how old I was. I was probably like 19, and I walked into a dentist office, and it was all pink. Like, everything was pink. The pens, the wall, the ladies were in pink scrubs. And I literally remember being like, if I ever start a business, it's going to be pink. And it's funny you brought this up because it didn't even like click in my head until you just said it. Like, I've just always loved that color. I like being bold. I do. I like doing crap that nobody does. Like, people could be in jeans and a t-shirt and I'll walk in a suit. I just will. So number one, it's I truly am just obsessed with my color. Two, um, it's a repetition thing. It takes people 7 times to read a message, to watch a video or anything, like the same exact message, to even register it and to process it. And so I teach my athletes this all the time. You gotta find your signature and you gotta pick something and you gotta go there. And if you look at the best of the best, Mel Robbins, glasses and motivation, that's what you can know her for every single time. I've never seen a post without the glasses or at least without her motivating me. Gary Vee is always in a t-shirt, just a solid colored t-shirt. I've never seen him in a pattern. Never seen him in a button down, nothing. He typically has a hat on, and if you ever see a picture of him taking a picture with a fan, he always does this. And I would love to ask him one day what the hell that means.
Yeah.
Um, no idea. Hermosi, cut off t-shirt and nose tape.
Flannel and the trucker hat. Yep.
And nose tape. Who the hell wears nose tape in content? He does. Jesse is my favorite example from the Savannah Bananas. Yellow suit. His freaking Instagram handle is Jesse in the yellow suit people made fun of him. He was dead broke while he would walk in with a yellow top hat, and he went on a cruise just now with a Savannah Bananas and posted his suitcase, and it was 7 different same exact, like, yellow suits. At least he has, like,
Yes.
hygiene. So it's that, like, you gotta know your brand and you gotta own it and you gotta make it, like, simple for people to, like, grasp. And it messes with people because my favorite color is pink. I just knew I wanted pink, so it's like it's genuine, but it messes with people's head. Everybody was like, "Why did you not go green? Like, go green, Sam Green, Sam Green." I'm like, "'Cause I could not back a brand that's green. I actually hate the color green." Um, so a little bit of, selfishness. Like, if I gotta wake up and if I gotta build this damn thing, it's hard every day. Okay. I gotta like what I'm looking at. Like, I gotta make these graphics. Like, I need to enjoy it was step one. And then step two is be consistent, like make yourself known. So,
Yeah. And well, it's the whole Alex Hormozy, people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught.
yeah.
And so when I've never not seen you in the pink blazer, and so I'm the biggest fan of the pink blazer
Oh,
actually.
well,
But
come to
it's
3.0 Jackson though, because I will switch up a few colors. There'll at least
yeah,
always be an accent of pink, but the main
there
base
we go. I'm
switches.
excited I'm excited to see it then. Um, but I just noticed that kind of stuff because, well, one, we've been following each other for a while now, but then two, I'm in the space. I know the differentiators. I know what to look for, and so that I don't know. I just wanted to ask you about that. Uh, for the athlete identity side, why is it important that athletes do things outside of their sport before graduating?
Oh man. A lot of people don't know my husband used to play baseball and I've been with him since like day one. I mean, we've been together 13 years now. So I saw every side of like minor league baseball, you name it. And that transition's very, very hard. I mean, when your whole identity and your whole life is wrapped into that, it's easy to do because it is your whole life. I mean, it is crazy. Like, if you really think about being an athlete, it's crazy. I mean, like, you wake up and your whole day is around working out and training and, nutrition and performance and drills and then stretching and then mobility and then PT I mean, it's crazy. And then, like, if you think about your life being revolved around that for over a decade, let's be honest, like by the time athletes get to college, like we're talking like 20 years of your life being about that one thing. And then one day it just cuts off. Like it's just done. It's crazy. Like, there's no, like, slow transition out. Like, there's no, like, slow like, even if you go work a 9 to 5 and you're in finance, and you get this job and you get fired from the next one, you have another one, and then you have another one all the way until, like, retirement, so you're, like, tapered out kind of. Like, to go from that to then, like, not at all is, like, kind of like a mind-boggling, like, process that you gotta start, like, figuring the quicker that you figure out your other interests outside of that sport, number 1, the better, I personally believe, you're gonna be at your sport, because then when you lose, the bad days aren't as bad because you have an identity outside of your sport, outside of your performance. If that's all you do, it will kill you. Like, the highs and the lows will swallow you alive, and it's gonna be freaking miserable. It is. And then on top of it, then when you hang it up for the last time, you are gonna just feel so lost, and that transition is gonna be hard no matter what. Again, like, you are changing a routine that you lived for 20 years. It's just not gonna be solved or fixed or normal overnight. It's just not, no matter what you do. You could have $30 million in the bank as a pro athlete and you could retire and it's still going to feel hard. So, the more that athletes can kind of wake up to that, Jackson, and start building it out and, figuring out those other interests, a lot of people view it as a distraction. I view it as sanity. The easier it's going to be. But I just think, you could be the best athlete in the world. It's still going to end one day. That's why it's important to really kind of open up your eyes and kind of start exploring.
Yeah, there's actually a name for this concept, which I didn't know it until recently.
Hmm.
It's called athlete identity foreclosure, and it's a concept that was originally brought up by a guy named James Marcia, who pulled it from Eric Erickson's research on like the human brain and behavioral psychology. I actually wrote something on this recently. I want to share it with you.
Please.
Um, Your parents tell you to play sports to teach you all of the valuable lessons sports have to offer. Seeking the approval of your parents, your peers, and yourself, you become highly specialized in a sport before the age of 10. And from that point on, the vast majority of your social praise is performance based. Hitting shots, winning championships, being the best player in town, and earning stars next to your name are how you differentiate yourself from the statistical norm, earning popularity and social status in the process. Then you get to high school, where student athletes begin getting scholarships. Statistics around college recruitment be damned. You decide that you are D1 or bust. And of course, your
Yep,
parents won't tell you any differently because they
yep.
feel like the last people who should tell you that the dream is unlikely. The inverse actually occurs. You are surrounded by people telling you that you are better than you actually are. So you are encouraged to keep going because if you showed interest in anything else, you would be losing focus. So now the pressure is on. Between school, practices, extra workouts, recovery protocol, diet, and coaches constantly telling you to surround yourself with winners, you have no time for anything but the sport. And even if you did, shouldn't that time go to watching film?
Mm,
Commitment can be defined as the elimination of alternatives, which is exactly what is happening. You are speeding up, caught up not just in the stress, but the joy and the intoxication associated with the grind. Not only that, but you are praised even further by your peers, your teachers, and members of
yep,
the community, and are
yep.
explicitly told that because of your ability to play, you are an asset to the community. Maybe this goes on through college, maybe D1, maybe not. Either way, the message is the same. You're a hooper. Nobody knows you for anything else, and honestly, with a decade invested into the game, you don't know anything about yourself either. There is no alternative identity built, no hobbies, no other interests worth mentioning, and no other skills that you believe you have to offer. Then, then the game is over, and you are met at the finish line with a quarter life crisis. The only question to ask now is, who am I?
Damn, Jackson, we gotta freaking blast that. I wanna get it graffitied all over, like, California. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
That's spot
what are
on,
your
man.
thoughts there?
It's just so spot on. I mean, like, and it's, it's a societal thing. It really is. It's just so worshipped and praised. And I think the cool thing about kind of what's going on now that's completely different. I keep saying this. So when NIL started, you're a example of this. You grew up like your only goal was like to get it to that level, right? And like to like truly be a true athlete. Then NIL passed, it's like shit, I got to figure out how to navigate NIL and how to take advantage of it because it was there. But you were traditionally just a traditional athlete. That was like it. That was like the only thing that like you looked at. And every single year as we move on throughout NIL, like we're gonna see that less and less in the sense of um these young kids, I put it out there and it's a very harsh kind of like claim, but I live by it. I think we're gonna see a major shift from sports entertainment to entertainment sports. And I think the banana ball is like the first true like example of that where like these athletes are gonna come up and their goal isn't just to be an athlete. Their goal is to build a brand, and they're going to use sports as an avenue to build that brand and to build their other ventures. And I think that's going to be a fabulous thing. A lot of people hate it. They think it's, wrong. What's wrong with, sports and X, Y, and Z. And I think there's always going to be a balance. Like you're 1% of the 1% of an athlete that's like truly, truly gifted are going to just be traditional athletes. And that's okay. And they freaking should be because they're going to be what, at the end of the day, like, they're going to be the ones scoring the touchdowns, like, shooting the points, winning the games at the end of the day. So you still need that traditional athlete that is all heads down, like not looking around. But then, like, what about everybody else? Like, who do you want on your bench? Like, do you want somebody that isn't going to play anyway? Or do you want somebody on your bench who isn't going to play, but is going to comes in with a million followers, is going to sell tickets, is going to sell jerseys? Like, I like to use like Cash Peterman as an example. Like, he was a kicker and he went to a few different schools. And his last year at UCLA, he shows up and traditionally, like, young kids would be lining up for the quarterback and they were lining up for cash and they were like waiting for autographs and this whole thing went viral on social media. Like that's where we're at and that's this day and age. And I think that's kind of going to be the fun part of NIL and where athletics in general is really going is these athletes are going to come in with different identities. It's not going to just be performance based. And it's going to allow a lot more kind of creative freedom. I mean, again, like you grew up, like maybe you had some social media, Jackson, like maybe you had like some YouTube and some stuff like that, but not like these kids are sitting right now in high chairs with iPads and they are consuming with their Cheerios in hand, with their right hand, their left hand is scrolling YouTube Shorts. Like, that's the reality of this, and
I didn't have Instagram until my junior year of high school.
yeah, well, when that's even
Like,
better than
yeah,
me, it's
I know.
but that's
I was
crazy.
not a social
Right,
media guy. I didn't
right.
even use a phone regularly until, like, my sophomore year of high school. So, yeah. No, I mean,
That's where this
it
world's going. Yeah,
yeah, I hope that that's true. Like, I hope that these athletes are coming into it being like a and if one of my missions in life is to, like, help athletes transition out of sport, like, that's just it's something that I'm currently going through. It's something that I've
right.
been going through the last 2 years,
Yep,
and now I'm kind of seeing light at the end of the tunnel
the
and
other side of it.
yeah, I mean, it's something, and that's why I love what you're doing with AthleteCon.
Thank you so much.
So AthleteCon 3.0, what can we expect with that?
Well, you gotta come, man, because we have, it's gone crazy since 1.0. I'll tell you, like, 1.0, like, I built AthleteCon, like, if you asked me on my bingo card if you'd start a convention, I would have said, "Hell no." Like, no, I did not plan on this. I really, really, truly built it out of, like, just seeing a gap and wanting to fix it, and so 1.0 was cute and fun in my in my perspective compared to where we're at now. It was in Charlotte in a, fun boutique kind of venue. It was, one day, and now, year 3, we sold out last year. I couldn't even keep it in Charlotte. I'm from Charlotte, wanted to keep it in Charlotte, couldn't, just it's not even set up for conventions the way that I need it to be. So it's in Vegas this year. We're looking at 300 plus, D1 and pro athletes. Livy Dunn's an official partner, which is crazy to even think about. We have just athletes that I've like dreamed about meeting walking into the room, which is super fun. We have a lot of major, major brands like that I can't wait to announce that are coming. Everything's just so hands on and tangible. I'm just so excited for these athletes. Like it worked. Like last year was like we really saw like a few athletes walk in with like 2,000 followers and a month later be at, 50,000, no brand deals to, making serious money and like just knowing and paving their way. The testimonials that we get, I have pages. It's really so rewarding. I have pages of just text messages from both athletes and from brands of just, wow, like this room was just, for the right reasons. And that's what I pride myself in. I don't make a dollar off of an athlete coming into the room. Literally at cost. It's it. College administrators as well. We have education for them this year. Don't make a dollar off of them. Like this is like truly a room to come and learn and to grow. Uh, we rebranded our awards. I'm so excited for it this year. It's the Athlete Awards. It's on a massive stage. We have crazy awards going out this year. The programming is just it's next level. So I'm just super pumped to have everybody in Vegas. Everybody's freaking out. They're arriving in pink limos. I don't know
Saw that.
why that was like the biggest thing. Like
Saw
they
that.
couldn't believe
Maya
it.
Simmons as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So they went so hard on that now I had to book a second one. I'm about to announce it here tonight, Jackson. So you heard it here first. I had to book an infinity pink limo to back it up because I didn't think they would care that much. And now it's like, okay, well, everybody gets in the pink
I'm
limo.
telling you,
So
it's the thing. It's the
yeah.
thing. That's
We
awesome.
have
I'm super excited to see how that event goes. I think it's gonna be great. I saw the move from Charlotte to Vegas, and I was like, "Man, Sam is moving, doing her." That's awesome.
had
Um,
to, had to.
so before I ask that last question, who should I bring on the podcast?
Ooh, okay. You should bring on Grace Bayer. She is heads my marketing at AthleteCon. And her story and her perspective is crazy. She's playing in the UK now. She's juggling like 12 different jobs. She really gets athletes. She really gets mindset. She's battled a lot of injuries. She is completely like prepping herself for like what's next in that next chapter. She touches a lot on like athlete mental health. She's worked with a lot of brands. She started with a small following and still learned how to leverage it. She's very like business mindset. Has a business mindset naturally. She's changed my life in the sense of I'll have a vision in my head of what my brand looks like, and I'll call her and I'll just say, blah, 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 blah. and spit it out, and this chick just brings it in digital form immediately. I have on my wall, like, she's also, like, an artist, like, I have all her art, like, on my wall, like, she's just crazy dynamic person, so I would definitely bring Grace on. Who else? I would also bring on probably Kaylee Sticker if you haven't had her yet. She played basketball at Clemson and then a smaller school. I don't remember her other school that she went to. And she really I've been with her from every step of the way of like a transition from like athlete to like full-time content creator. So she's a fun one. She shoots from the hip. She'll tell you the damn truth on what it's like to kind of navigate like adulting. Like I remember her calling me about getting her first apartment, right? So it's like she's a fun one to kind of expose like the truth of what it's like to like really face the real world after becoming an athlete, but also how to convert your social media into a full-time career as well. So those would be my two go-tos.
Awesome. No, if you could connect me with them, that would be great.
Oh, I will. I absolutely will.
I'd love to have them on. Okay. So I ask the same question at the end of the podcast to all of my guests. It's by far my favorite question that I think I'll ever ask. And that question is, what is one question that no one has ever asked you?
I feel like nobody's asked me my why. Like I feel like I've like busted my ass for all these years, and I feel like I've started all these like crazy like business ventures and just keep going, and I feel like nobody's been like, "Why the hell are you doing this?" Because it is kind of like I ask myself all the time why I'm doing this, and not to get too deep, but a lot of people don't know my brother passed away 5 years ago, and so he was a very high achiever. Like, just was always like, even more so than me. In all honesty, like he was always like magna cum laude and graduated from NC State, and always had all these accolades, and was making crazy money and living in New York City, and like literally had like everything that you could imagine. And when he passed, I was like, well, damn, like I gotta go chase my dreams. And like like time on life is finite. You gotta like do what you want to do. Like if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out swinging. I want to go out motivating other people. I want to help other people chase their dreams. And so a lot of people always ask me how. Like, how are you doing this? How are you surviving? Like, are you okay? Like, blink twice if you need help because you work so hard. But nobody's been like, why do you wake up at crazy hours to build this thing, and why do you stay up, and like why are you willing to risk it all? And it's like, because I've really seen like how a short life can truly be, and I'll be damned if I don't give it my all. So I appreciate that question, Jackson. When you told me you were going to say that, it made me like ponder my own head and like even ask myself the question that I maybe didn't even ask myself prior to. So I really appreciate you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you even more. I am a massive fan of your work. I'm a massive fan of the people that you get to work with. I'm very much looking forward to working with you a heck of a lot more in the future. I'm always one text or one call away. Where can my audience find you?
Easiest way is gonna be Instagram. I'm Sam B. Green, green like the color, and then athlecon.io is our website if you wanna, like, reach out, based on that, but I'm really good about my IG DMs for sure.
Awesome. Well, Sam, thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you, Jackson. Congratulations to you, first of all. Round of applause. The show is sick. I love all your episodes. Thank you for giving people like me a platform to even share our stories. So it's not going unnoticed. We love you. I think you have a major community that's like backing you and super excited about this. So thank you for the opportunity. And I can't wait to see you in Vegas.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam.
Talk soon.